Hi YouTube, my name's Miranda, and I am a transgender man. So today I decided that I wanted to start a YouTube channel about my transition because it's something that I really want to document. I watch other transgender YouTubers all the time, and they make me feel so much more valid and like I'm not alone. Like there's a community out there that I can go to when I'm feeling just super duper shitty about being trans. So I feel like in sharing my own experience I could be helping other people and helping myself. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about my coming out story. So it all started when I was probably like 3, 4, 5 years old. I had a little Bambi cap, a pink Bambi cap, and it was the only cap that I had. I used to put that on backwards, put on the clothes that I had that were less girly, and look in the mirror and get super excited that I looked like a little boy. Like all I wanted to be was a boy, you know? I remember that I used to watch Disney movies and wish I was the prince saving the princess. Like I never wanted to be the princess. I never wanted to be super girly or anything like that. Like I was always super tomboyish and always had in my head that I was a boy. But I didn't really know what that meant, and I didn't really understand that I was transgender. The only way that I had some sort of idea of what I was going through was when I was young. I remember watching a talk show. I don't remember what talk show it was, but I remember there was a transgender child on there, just talking about how they were coming out at school, their parents were accepting of them and letting them transition and go on hormones and all this stuff. And I was like in elementary school when I was watching this. And I remember sitting there thinking, I wonder if that's gonna be me one day. And fucking here I am. So it was all very weird growing up, feeling one way about myself and expressing myself in one way, and then in another way being perceived as a little girl. Like it didn't really click in my head that that wasn't necessarily the norm. I just sort of thought, oh, I'm a tomboy, whatever. A lot more to it than that. Like, I used to do, like, very stereotypical boy things. I used to play with Hot Wheels, I collected them, used to play with rocks, used to play with worms in the dirt, and, like, oh my god, I loved Legos and Bionicles. If you guys remember what Bionicles are, like, that was my favorite toy. I loved assembling them, and I don't know, like, I just always loved doing stereotypical boy things, and it felt right to me. And other people would look at me and be like, why is this little girl acting this way or doing that? Why are they being, like, so masculine? What is going on? And, you know, I used to get confused when people would tell me to act more ladylike. Like, what was wrong with who I was? Why can't I act like this? What's the problem? I don't get it. And it wasn't until I was in 3rd grade, I remember this specific moment, sitting in class. I was talking to my friends about something, I don't remember what. And I remember saying, for no reason, sometimes I wish I was a boy, guys. Just said that out of nowhere. And my friends just looked at me like, what the fuck is going on? And they were like, that's really weird, what? And I remember thinking, wait, other people don't feel like that? And even then, when I said that, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know I was trans. I had no idea. Nobody ever talked about that. Like, back then, it was like late 90s, early 2000s, like, people didn't talk about being transgender. That wasn't a thing. And it sucked, you know? I didn't really have any way of being exposed to that or any way of finding myself because I didn't even know that this existed. I remember going through puberty and wearing makeup and like trying to make myself look all girled up and trying to be pretty. And like, yeah, it felt nice. It feels good to look good, obviously. But it never felt like me. I always felt more like myself when I was wearing boy clothes or wearing button-ups and t-shirts and like just presenting more masculine. That felt right to me. Although I did force myself to dress girly sometimes. Maybe one day I'll show you guys those pictures of me being very, very, very girly. It's shocking to see. When did I finally realize that I was transgender? That was a very weird moment for me. Scary, very scary. I remember I was sitting in my basement. I felt very weird, like I was going through a lot in my head, and I was just thinking of all the things in my life that were not connecting and not making sense, and I sat there and I was like, there's something missing, I'm missing something about myself, I don't know what's going on. And there was a mirror, a long body-size mirror in my basement, and I walked over to that mirror, and I remember I was just flattening my chest. Like, I just kept flattening it, and I wanted to see what I looked like, and I was flexing my muscles, and I was like, yeah, I look manly, this is great. And then I stopped, and I was like, why am I doing this? I was 22 years old, by the way. I'm 23 now, 22 years old. Looking in the mirror, thinking about what I would look like with a flat chest and wishing I had one. And it wasn't really something that I thought about much before. I always knew that I never really felt like a girl, but I didn't necessarily know what that meant. But in that moment, something just clicked. I was like, why do I not want a chest? Why do I wish I had facial hair? What's going on? And it finally struck me. I was looking in that mirror and I saw my authentic self, and I finally realized I'm transgender. That's what's going on. That's what I've been missing all this time. Like, I'm not a girl. I've never felt like a girl. That's never been my reality. And that was just really hard to take in, you know? My entire life I thought that I was okay with being a girl, and I thought that this is who I was, and it wasn't. I was just trying to force myself to feel a certain way. So, when I finally realized that I was trans, I was like, what the fuck do I do with this? You know, I began crying and slowly coming out to people. I remember telling my best friend that I was trans and crying about it, and she gave me the biggest hug, and she told me that it was okay and that she loved me anyway, and it was awesome. Like, I had nobody else to talk to. I didn't know any trans people personally that I could like go to and ask for advice. I was on my own, and it felt so scary, and she was there for me. And so with that, it gave me more strength to come out to my family. So I told my mom and my stepfather, and initially they were like, what? I don't understand. My stepdad pretty much was okay with it right away. My mom took a little bit of time, you know, just because she always saw me as her daughter and she didn't know how else to see me. And I completely understand that. But she's come around. She now calls me he. She calls me by the other name I go by, Randy. And she introduces me as her son. And it's so awesome. So after I came out to my parents, I started coming out at work, slowly. I started going up to my coworkers. Me being an extremely open and honest person, I started going up to my coworkers and saying, hey, so I think that I want to chop my boobs off. And they were just like, oh, okay, do what makes you happy. And I was like, okay, that's great. Like, I didn't expect it to be that easy. And I feel like I've been extremely lucky because, like, a lot of people don't have a support system like that will not look at them like they're a freak and tell them that there's something wrong with them and make them feel like crap about being trans. And I just had this amazing support system, both in work, in my family, in my friend group. Like, it was so cool. But yeah, so I told them that I was thinking of getting my boobs chopped off, and that was cool with everybody. And then eventually I realized that that wasn't enough. I wanted to start taking hormones. I wanted my voice to drop. I wanted facial hair. I wanted muscles. Like, I wanted to become a man. So eventually I went online and I started searching up, like, different places in my area that offered hormone replacement therapy. And honestly, like, I live in a very, very small town in Pennsylvania, and there's not much going on here. There's a very small LGBTQ community. Like, I'm pretty alone in many ways. So after searching and searching for days, I finally found out that there was a Planned Parenthood about 45 minutes away that offered hormone replacement therapy, and I was so ecstatic. I remember I was laying in bed crying to myself about the fact that I feel stuck in this body and it's not me. And I was getting so desperate that I was like, well, if I can't find a place that'll give me hormones, like, I'm going to go online and buy them. Like, I will buy hormones and guess, and don't do this, by the way. That's a horrible idea. Do not give yourself your own hormones. Make sure you go to a doctor. But yeah, I was thinking about buying hormones online, and eventually I went to Planned Parenthood, and on October 18th, 2017, I got my first shot of testosterone, and it was such an amazing feeling. Like, I finally felt like I was becoming my authentic self, and it was just amazing. And now here I am. I am almost 9 months on testosterone at this point. I got some facial hair coming in. I got a mustache right here, a beard, cool stuff. I'm not super muscular, but I've gotten more so recently. I don't work out, so that's literally all tea. Amazing. Like, I'm pretty happy. I'm a pretty skinny guy, but I'm pretty toned, which is nice. And it's definitely helped with that. I've always been pretty lean, but, well, not when I was a kid. I was a little chubby, but for the most part, most of my life, I've always been pretty skinny, and this has definitely beefed me up a little bit, so that's pretty cool to see. But yeah, like, here I am. I've come out to my family, I've come out to my friends, come out at work, and, people are still, like, trying to catch up to the pronouns, and I still get misgendered here and there, but, everybody's making an effort, and that's all I care about. Everybody's trying to call me he. If it makes them more comfortable, they call me Randy, and I'm totally okay with that. Like, I just have an amazing support system, and I'm so grateful for that. So yeah, that's basically my coming out story. Thank you guys for watching. I'm probably gonna upload more videos in the future about my experiences and stuff like that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm really glad I did this, so I'll talk to you guys later.